If you can lay down for free, you can lay down for a fee. Put a price on it.
I'm not quite sure what the saddest part about this particular message is. Whether it's the fact that these types of videos are gaining in popularity, or that there aren't more women out there fighting against this particular narrative, which is basically indicating that, well, women are selling themselves to the highest bidder.
Don't lowball. Go. It's gonna separate the boys from the men. Put a price on that thing.
I know what the saddest part of that is. It's that entire narrative. And the fact that there are some individuals actually pushing that idea, that is some sort of women's empowerment, when all that it is, in fact, is self-degradation with no extra steps. It's really unfortunate that there aren't more women out there that are encouraging women, and especially young women, to understand what having self-respect actually means, and to have more respect for themselves. Because putting a price on it isn't going to separate the boys from the men. No, the only thing that's going to do is show those out there who has respect for themselves and who has a price tag.
I think the government should pay women, like a monthly stipend, maybe $5,000, seems pretty reasonable.
I'm sure we're all wondering the same question. Why exactly would women need to get paid $5,000 a month from the government?
The government should pay women, right, and just women, because, listen, the government is run by men, right? Like, even if there's women in there, it's run by the men.
Oh dear. Well, here we go.
And men are always saying they're providers, they protect us from other men. They're providers, they keep us safe.
Okay.
So if the government is men and men are providers, then the government should provide.
I would like to take this opportunity to promote the idea to the education system to start teaching not only critical thinking, but also logical reasoning in schools, because it's quite obviously needed.
Right, they said they're all providers, so the government should pay us because we're women.
Shockingly, a lot of individuals actually do believe that women should be paid for simply existing by the government. But it's always been my belief that if a person is earning a wage, they should actually be doing something to earn that wage or that stipend. So what exactly are the plans for some of these women in the future for earning their keep? Or do they really expect to just be paid to exist?
If you have a bunch of friends from the opposite gender, you're a red flag. You're a red flag.
I'm sure that if we wait long enough, that statement will somehow make sense.
Because there's no way they all friend zoned you.
Wow. Really? Now this is going to come as a great shock to some, but there are individuals out there that choose of their own free will to remain single and not try to date every member of the opposite gender that they come into contact with. Shocking, I know.
Especially during this time where you can't find a decent person to be with. There's no way. If you had good qualities, one of those girls or guys would have been with you. There's no way. There's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah, there is something wrong here. And that would be the persistent idea that many seem to want to cling to, that if a person happens to be single, there must be something wrong with them, especially if they happen to have a lot of friends of the opposite gender. It's like they're being penalized for possibly valuing those persons' friendships over romantic entanglements. But I do understand that the idea of not dating someone that you actually like hasn't really occurred to some.
Victims of the male loneliness epidemic deserve exactly zero empathy from women.
And why would that be?
Because hating women is exactly how they got into this mess. And the only thing that's going to get them out of it is being less misogynistic and to stop placing the burden of their problems and the solutions to those problems on women.
I feel at this point I should actually state the obvious, because at least as far as I have seen, for the most part, those speaking about the supposed male loneliness epidemic have mostly been women, and a person has to wonder why that is. Not only that, but those particular women who choose to talk about how lonely and misogynistic most men supposedly are really seem to have never actually had a conversation with any of these single men. Because no, most men are not misogynistic. And those that are single are actually, for the most part, rather happy being single in their drama-free existence where they can actually just enjoy their peace. It's almost like some of these women need to believe that men are lonely so that they can justify some of the statements that they are making.
Name one thing that women created. 8 billion people.
Okay, so women certainly helped create 8 billion people. And I don't think anyone's going to argue that women, in fact, do the majority of the heavy lifting when it comes to bringing life into this world. But here's my question. Of those 8 billion people, half of them are men. And there's a lot of women out there that say all men are the same, that it's all men until it's no men. So in regards to creating those 4 billion men, what part did women play in those men turning out the way that they did? At least the ones that so many women are complaining about. Are some of these women going to take responsibility, at least partially, in how they turned out? Or is that something that is going to be passed off to the responsibility of men?
To all the men out there, if a woman ever says, "What color should I get my nails?" I'm going to get my nails done right now.
Be very wary, because she's about to ask you for something.
What shape should I get? Anything mentioning the nail or nail salon, that is the part where you Venmo, Zelle, Apple Cash, send the money, drop off the cash, pick up on the hints, and pay for her nails.
But why, though? Why should he pay for her nails to get done? Did he ask her to go get them done in a specific way and in a specific color because that's the way he likes to see them on her and it was his request that she get them done? If so, then that would make a reasonable amount of sense that he should pay for them. But I find that rather a bit of a stretch because most guys don't care one little bit about a woman's nails. Notwithstanding the fact that most women get their nails done for themselves because they like the way that they look. So why exactly should a man pay for something that a woman is doing for herself? After all, there are so many women out there that are more than pleased to tell you exactly how strong and independent they are, but yet will not even oftentimes flutter an eyelash when it comes to asking a man to pay for something that they should be doing all on.
These women, man, they don't know what they're asking. They don't know what they're talking about. A woman, you remember the clip at the beginning of the video, the woman was talking about, don't lay down for free, lay down for a fee. It's like, what? Do you know what you're saying? Do you know what you're putting yourself out there as? Y'all are looking for a high value man, but a high value man has the cash to treat you like you're a streetwalker. He has the cash for that. The very man that you'll do anything for, you'll move heaven and earth to get his attention. That man is not going to respect you. And the man has the money to disrespect you. What are we talking about here?
So earlier this year, I decided to fix my relationship with men and
Well, that is really good to hear.
start listening to them a little bit more.
That's also probably a very good idea.
And stop being so defensive about everything that they say. And the more I speak to men and the more I become friends with them and hear their viewpoints, the lesser of a feminist I become. I feel like I don't resonate with being a feminist anymore.
Oh? How so?
So now I'm a misandrist and a very proud one.
Surprise. Yeah, if you're like me, that one did not go exactly the way you thought it was going to go. But then again, the world is full of surprises. Just like the fact that there are a lot of individuals that are, now more than ever, absolutely more than pleased to announce that they are just nothing more than a plain old bigot. And for those who don't remember what a bigot is, it's a person who has an unreasonable belief or prejudice against a person based on their membership of a particular group. So enjoy that bigotry and wear that mantle proudly.
There's no such thing as being too mean to a man.
If we use the word person instead of man, would that logic still apply?
If you think you're being mean, you probably could be meaner.
But why would a reasonable person want to be meaner to another person?
Men are not nice people. They're not innately nice.
What's that term again? When someone says something about an entire group of people, assuming that it's true? Oh, gosh, I know there's a word for that.
And if they're around you or if they're doing something, it is because they are benefiting from it. They always put themselves first.
Individuals that make statements like this are often seeing those traits in other people that they don't like in themselves.
So you need to be being mean to get out of that what you want out of that.
Apparently, this is what passes for advice now. Being mean to people will get you what you want out of them.
And I think men absolutely adore mean women.
No, they don't.
Because in their mind, you are a challenge. And if you're mean to them, you're mean to other men.
If a person is only mean to those that share a certain characteristic, what exactly does that make them?
Men don't respect nice women. Like, they walk all over it.
Really? What I've noticed is that individuals, whether they be men or women, that get walked all over are those that don't have boundaries. And a person doesn't have to be mean in order to have boundaries.
Ain't no reason for you to be out here trying to be nice to men. It gets you absolutely nowhere.
What a time to be alive. Because an individual telling other individuals to be mean to someone based on their gender passes for advice now.
One of the smallest things that I have noticed that irritates me to hell regarding men.
And what are we complaining about today about men, just for the sake of complaining?
Is the way that men will call each other brother at any given chance, but you will never hear them calling a woman sister.
Some women are just nitpicking now.
And I believe that this is so frustrating.
Only for those that are jealous.
The brotherhood of being a man is so alive and well. This idea of protecting each other, caring for each other, finding friendship in each other, even with strangers. They just have to mildly smile at each other and they'll be like, hey brother, how you doing?
So, what's wrong with that?
I have never heard a man say anything that welcoming to a woman.
Of course. For some, it always comes back to, how can I feel slighted today?
Women are seen as inherently sexual objects. Thus, such terms would not go hand in hand, for obvious reasons.
Some will really go to almost any length to try to victimize themselves in some way, just so they can avoid being responsible for the words that come out of their mouth.
There will always be an in-crowd for them to be a part of that women will never be able to be a part of. And I'm not saying it is all down to the term brother, but it is a very small indication of that.
That sounded like it was coming from a place of jealousy. So instead of trying to tear down men for the closeness that many of them have with each other, why doesn't a person try to promote the closeness of women so that a person can feel like they're part of a community that someone obviously so wants to be a part of?
If you're a man and you're broke or you live paycheck to paycheck, you shouldn't be dating.
Could someone be a bit more obvious that all they value in a man is money? I'm not so great with subtlety.
You're not necessarily a bad person. Everyone falls on tough times. But as a man, how are you going to offer any kind of security to a woman if you can barely pay for dates?
Let's put a different spin on this. Since some women only value money, and some men only seem to value looks, that means that it would be okay for a man to say, if you're not attractive, you shouldn't be dating. I don't think that would go over very well, but apparently this narrative is okay.
Just get your life in order first and then date. It's really not that hard. People have come at me for this before.
Gee, I can't imagine why.
And they say things like, oh, so poor people don't deserve love? No, that's not what I'm saying.
True. Someone never said anything about people in general. They were referring strictly to men who are possibly not the most financially stable, that they shouldn't be dating, implying that they don't deserve to have a chance at happiness until they have enough money in their bank account. Right? Or did I somehow misunderstand that?
Obviously, if you're already in a relationship and you fall on tough times, that you just get through it together.
I'm quite frankly surprised they even said that part.
But if you are a man and you are seeking a relationship, get your finances in order first. It doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire, doesn't mean you have to pay all of her bills, but you should be financially stable enough to take her on dates, to buy her flowers. And you don't have gas money, that you should not be dating. Period, point blank, this is a hill I will die on. You can come for me if you want, but it is what it is.
Right. It is what it is.
You need to stop being so scared to ask men for stuff.
Why would a grown, supposedly independent woman actually have the audacity to ask men for stuff? I'm sure there's a good reason.
Because these men never hesitate to ask you for your body.
Right. Sure. Because that makes perfect sense. Turn relationships into something transactional so that a person is basically selling their services. Okay. I'm really getting embarrassed for a lot of these women out there. Do they not realize how bad a lot of this is making them look? Of course, then again, I don't think they care.
So I think you asking him for $20 for gas really shouldn't be a big deal.
Sadly, it's probably these very same types of women and those that listen to this type of advice that view relationships as strictly transactional and see men only for what they can be used to get out of them that are probably still wondering why they can't find a good relationship. Where are all those good men hiding? And why can't they seem to find a relationship that actually lasts, where someone treats them with love and respect? Well, here's a thought. If you treat every relationship as a transaction, the guy is going to often find a better deal.
If the guy you're talking to wants you to chase him, text him first, stuff like that, you're actually talking to a girl.
These little attempts at trying to insult, or rather should I say, shame men who actually want to be treated like they're valued in a relationship is not going to go precisely the way that a person thinks. Because if instead of attracting those good men that a person really wants, they're actually going to drive them away, and then someone is going to be sitting there wondering in a few years why they're still single.
College doesn't indoctrinate, college educates.
Sure about that? Because that has been a subject of debate amongst many individuals. Because quite frankly, and speaking as a person who does have a college degree, it really depends what that person chooses to study and where they choose to study it. I know some don't like hearing that, but, well, the truth is often not easy to hear.
It teaches you not what to think, but how to think critically.
Really? Well, let's put a little critical reasoning and thinking to the test then, shall we? If that was indeed the case, and the majority of what they said was actually true, then the majority of those individuals who graduated from university would be able to demonstrate without any difficulty whatsoever that the majority of their actions were based on decisions that were based in facts and logic, and not on emotions. However, that is not usually what is seen from those who attended university with certain degrees, now is it? So before someone goes making generalizations, perhaps one should think more critically about these things. Or was that not taught in your university?
And remember, ladies, broke men invented romance.
What? Broke men invented romance. Okay, that's a little far-fetched, but I'll play along. Why did broke men invent romance?
Because they didn't have money, so get the money.
Why is it always about money? I really want to know. So for those ladies out there that are so fixated on how much money a guy makes above all else, it seems, why? There are so many other qualities that a gentleman can offer in a relationship, but yet the biggest factor that a lot of women seem to focus on is how much money a guy makes. Why is that? Shouldn't it be more important what type of gentleman he is? If he's kind, considerate, or a giving person. And giving doesn't necessarily just mean financially. So why are so many women focused so heavily on money? I think this will be an interesting discussion, and I really can't wait to hear some of the answers.
Boy, which one of y'all started complaining about the women going to the men's restroom? This is crazy word. Got us in line because y'all feel some type of way. Equal rights.
Did they really just say equal rights? As if that was some sort of gotcha moment in this particular situation? Oh dear. Personally, I do find it rather amusing when individuals like to use words seemingly without actually understanding what they mean, but I digress. But equal rights in this situation does not mean that the women need to have access to the men's restroom, because they have equal opportunity by having equal access to their respective restrooms. Now, a person could argue, I suppose, that there should be more women's restrooms, but that would be something to take up with the owner or manager of that particular facility. But the real question is, if the line was longer for the men's restroom than the women's, how many women, in the spirit of equal rights, would be willing to let the men in their restroom with them?
Well, you know, the problem with what you're saying, Lady J, is that you're using logic. Most of these modern women use feeling and emotion. They'll do things that they feel is right. They'll act in a way, in a manner that's consistent with what benefits them. And so they're not going to listen to rules. They're not going to listen to laws. I'm thinking about one woman. The cop was following her. I think they were on a freeway, or maybe, I don't know if it was a freeway or it was like a kind of like a frontage road. We call it a feeder road. The woman, even though the man had his lights on, she kept driving kept driving till she got to the house, pulled in her garage, got out the car and was trying to walk inside. They don't follow rules. A man asking license or registration. A cop is asking you license and registration. You just got through running a red light. What? I don't think I needed. What do you stop me for? You just ran a red light. Yeah, but you know, that shouldn't. I'm having a hard day and I broke my foot and the cannoli that I got wasn't fresh. And I just, officer, please. License and registration, please.
Why aren't men making the first move anymore?
Why should they? Men and women are equal, right? So that means equal rights and equal responsibilities. And that includes dating.
Like, that's literally your job.
Says who? Oh, wait, it's some of those individuals that want traditional gender roles to be enforced in certain situations, but absolutely not in others.
It's your responsibility to show the initial interest. It's your job to go get the girl's number, to go tell her that you're interested.
Whenever I hear takes like this, where it's a woman emphasizing that it is solely the man's responsibility to approach the woman and initiate contact for the beginnings of a relationship, I often wonder, is that just some way of indicating that they're not getting approached? Could be.
You're afraid of getting rejected. Be a man, grow up.
Anyone else find it just a tad bit funny that there are some women out there that want men to act like men, only in so much as it serves their purpose. But when it doesn't, they call men acting like men reprehensible.
Men that claim that they don't chase women are so lame to me. Lame. What do you do? What do you chase after then?
Peace, serenity, money. You know, things that are worth their time to chase after.
Dick? Because you don't chase after women, so you're either going to be with a woman that chases after you, and let's be real.
Oh, I don't think someone's ready for that.
Men don't like when women chase after them.
I wonder who told them that.
Right? It's not even natural for a woman to be chasing after a man.
I'm sure that someone would know all about being natural.
So if you are up in my face telling me you don't chase women, I don't do all that. Oh, okay. Then be with the woman that chases you. And good luck liking her, right?
So let me get this straight. Their choices are to be with a woman like the one we're watching, or someone who is pursuing them and is genuinely interested in them. What a hard choice that will be.
So you just settled with who was desperate and lonely enough to chase after you.
That's a not very subtle way of putting other women down that actually pursue men, but I digress.
I just want to make sure you know how that sounds.
Oh, we know exactly how that sounded. And quite frankly, a lot of these jokes just write themselves.
I genuinely think that if I'm around a man, no matter if it is romantically, friendship, brother, whatever the case may be, if I'm around a man, I do not think that I should have to pay for my own food, put my own gas, take out the trash, open my own doors, nothing.
To sum up, some women just see men as not only free ATMs, but free labor, because they shouldn't have to do a thing for themselves as long as there's a man around.
I don't think that you should have to see a woman romantically in order to treat her like a woman. I don't.
That is not asking to be treated like a woman. That is asking to be treated like someone who is ultimately helpless.
I think it's genuinely a respect thing. I think that women should be put on a pedestal around every man.
Now, this is just my opinion, but I really never could get behind the idea that a person should be deserving of special treatment by virtue of having a characteristic about themselves that they ultimately cannot control. Just imagine if we applied that in other situations as well.
When are we as a society going to start acknowledging the fact that the problem is men?
And what a revelation that is. It seems like stating the incredibly obvious has become the newest thing for some individuals to do, as if they've had some kind of grand epiphany. But what I've noticed is that while most of us are very well aware that unfortunately most crimes are committed by some men, they very rarely ever offer any solutions to the problem. And a person can complain about a problem all they want, but if I'm not offering a solution, what exactly are they contributing?
It's the men who stab women on trains. It's the men who assassinate people. It's the men who are shooting up schools. When are we going to realize that the problem here is men?
So, what I've also noticed is that in addition to not offering up any solutions to the problem, there seems to be a definite lack of interest as to what the root causes and motivations are behind these unfortunate crimes that some men commit. It's almost like finding out the problem that causes these acts of violence would almost be a way to find the solution.
Hey, where are we finding good men?
Check the friend zone.
I hear the men are more delusional about the way that they look than women are.
No, not even close. But what brings this on?
I made that video talking about how if you're a woman going for a very attractive man, then you're gonna have to be nice to him because he has so many options. He's not gonna choose the one that treats him poorly.
Well, it's just my opinion, but a person should be nice to everyone. At least until they give them a reason not to be, but that's just considered common courtesy.
I mean, every man known to this earth was commenting on it saying, I will not tolerate disrespect.
I think the question should be, is why should any person tolerate another person's disrespect?
I'm like, did you look at yourself though? Like, that's what I was getting at.
Excuse me? Is someone actually here trying to imply that someone should be treated a certain way based on what they look like and how attractive they are? Oh my.
And before you comment on this one and be like, it has nothing to do with looks, it has everything to do about looks. Wake up.
Oh yes. I really do hope that a lot of these individuals that have this particular style of thinking really keep that same energy, as they say, when their looks start to fade, and then they won't be disappointed when they're not treated very nicely.
Listen, men hate women, okay? Men hate women.
No, most of them actually don't, but go on.
Even the ones that tell you they love you hate you.
Sure they do. It's really genuinely amazing how many women have actually convinced themselves that all men hate women. It's absolutely astounding. But in a way, they have to be convinced of this, because otherwise they couldn't justify their own bad behaviors against most men in general.
The reason that it's so hard for both men and women to conceptualize that this is true is that you're trying to think of hate with the same amount of effort from both genders.
This ought to be good.
When women hate men, it takes so much energy. We have to organize. We have to get together. We have to protest. We have to form movements. It takes decades and millennia and entire lifetimes for women to truly hate men.
Well, that's quite a statement. They're basically saying that in order for women to hate men, they need to be organized. I guess I've never heard of personal hatred.
For men to hate women, all they have to do is ignore you. That's it. All they have to do is go on about their regular lives. They can passively just simply not think of you, or only think of you when they want something from you.
Really? So ignoring someone is the exact same as hating them now. Which dictionary is that in, by the way?
Because for men to not hate women, they would need to exert the same amount of energy that we spend hating you.
Goodness. Please do some stretching, because all of this reaching is really going to end up with someone pulling something.
So yeah, men hate women. Men hate women in their sleep. Tell me I'm wrong.
Happily. But I'm fairly certain I already did that.
One of the other reasons I'm child-free is because what if it's a boy? Ew.
Well, wasn't that just cute? But believe it or not, even after seeing that, there will still be multitudes of individuals that actually have the gall to say that misandry doesn't actually exist. But on another note, I am fully in support of any individual who chooses to remain child-free. And there are many reasons for that. But the main one happens to be that, as many of us have seen, there are lots of individuals who have demonstrated over and over again that they are probably not the most suitable ones to be parents. Because after all, being a parent is quite a hefty responsibility. The main task being to raise someone from being a child to an adult, ensuring that they are educated, well-rounded, accepting, and overall a good person. And as we have seen, there are a lot of individuals out there that simply don't seem to have those qualifications.
For some reason, men think saying, text me when you get home safe, makes them a good guy.
It doesn't. But here I thought that fell into that category known as the bare minimum.
No, a good guy texts me to make sure that I got home safe.
Hold on. How exactly is the guy supposed to know when the woman gets home? Does he just magically know? Or is there going to be a line of text coming from the guy saying, are you home yet? Are you home yet? And then the woman gets upset that he texts too much and is too needy.
Telling me to text you is about your comfort. You don't want to do the work, so you put the work on me.
Texting is considered to be work now?
A real nice guy takes the weight off of me and actually checks in, does the work.
Yeah, 'cause it's a lot of work to text those little words, I'm home.
If you cared about my safety, I feel like a man would show it with action, not just a line that he says to every girl.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that no matter how much some guys do for women, whether it is just the bare minimum or if they do actually go above and beyond, there will always be some out there that just want more because they want to feel special in that person's life. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel special. However, if a woman in this case has specific expectations in regards to how the other person treats them in the relationship, those things should be voiced. Men aren't mind readers. So say exactly what a person wants, and don't be so vague.
I am a man that looks like a woman.
No, I'm not trying to be rude here, but in their words, they're a man that looks like a woman. Okay, so they're a man. But they say they look like a woman. How? I don't see it. Is it the long hair that makes a person think they look like a woman? Because not every woman has long hair, and lots of manly men, very manly men, have long hair as well, so that doesn't a woman make. And is that part of what makes a man look like a woman? Because that doesn't necessarily make a woman either. But then there's this.
And if that enrages you, then you're probably transphobic. Or something.
Yeah, I think it would be the or something. Because I don't think anybody's enraged. I honestly just think that most of them are confused. Sorry to break this to you, dearie, but misandry does in fact exist. Although I think we finally found the reason why some individuals actually believe that it doesn't, and the answer was in the captions to that video. So let's take a look. The oppressors can't be oppressed. See, now that's the main problem there. Some individuals are actually of the opinion that misandry has something to do with oppression, when if they just looked up the definition of the term, they would know how incorrect that is. Misandry is just the hatred of men. Period. End of story. It's not a much longer explanation than that. So yes, in point of fact, misandry, whether a person likes it or not, nor how much they deny it actually does actually very much exist, and it is becoming a very real and ever-increasing problem.
I love when guys think it's a flex to be like, I don't chase women.
Why wouldn't that be a flex? I mean, that statement rather implies the gentleman doesn't have to chase after or pursue women that are possibly not interested in him, and he has enough self-respect to realize that it's best to get involved with a person who actually has a mutual attraction to you, as opposed to playing the dating games.
Okay, bye. Go find your husband then. Like, I'm all set.
Can we just stop doing that already? It's really not a good look, especially at this point in time. But unfortunately, there still are a lot of individuals that seem to think that shaming tactics are the appropriate way to go when someone isn't doing something that you like. But let me ask, when has shaming someone ever actually gotten them to do what you want them to do? But unfortunately, many women, when it comes to men not doing what they want specifically when it comes to dating, will actually try to shame them by insinuating that they're gay. Unfortunately, that's rather implying that there's something inherently wrong with a person who's gay. And that's just not where it is now, is it? I thought we left that behind a long time ago. But here's an idea. If a gentleman's not doing something that you like when it comes to dating, just say no thank you. Move on. Do try being an adult. How very sad. And I don't believe that most reasonable people could even begin to understand the true level of actual obsession that a person would have to hold in their hearts in order to be able to truly disdain a group of people so much that they would actually wish misery, grief, and despair upon them on a daily basis. That takes a whole new level of energy of hatred. It really does. And then to go so far as to not only make it a goal to inflict that upon members of the group themselves, but to encourage others to do it as well. There has to be something fundamentally in error with that particular thought process that would actually encourage the spreading of hatred and misery. But I understand it's easier to do so. It's harder to do the right thing, of spreading understanding, joy, and even happiness, because that actually takes work.
There's nothing I can't stand more than a ugly or mid man with the audacity.
Audacity? No, they are referring to what the rest of us know as confidence.
The first thing I always think is, what absolute queen, what stunning, beautiful goddess gave you a chance, so now you think you have the audacity.
Of course, some would think that, wouldn't they? Because it's absolutely inconceivable to some that a man who isn't absolutely great looking should have any confidence, unless of course it was given to him by a woman.
It's always a beautiful girl who's probably a people pleaser who goes after these men who are like, I don't even know, they negotiated their way onto earth for her.
It's really sad to think that there are a lot of individuals out there that actually believe that a person's confidence level and personality should be dictated on the basis of how attractive they are.
And all of a sudden, they break up for whatever the case may be, and they go around thinking they are just the absolute tits. Sir, go back to your wife, because the rest of us, we don't see it, Quasimodo.
Oh, how charming.
And if you're a man sitting there being like, well, you're mid at best, give me 30 minutes, I'll blow you out of the water.
Well, speaking of audacity.
And ladies, next time you see a man out and he just has the audacity of, like, a man that he should definitely not have, like a Liam Hemsworth audacity, okay? Because that man can have audacity. Please know that there was a goddess, an angel, an earth angel that came down, gave that man a chance, and now he just thinks he can have anyone. You can't.
Anyone else noticing a little double standard here? Because according to some, men shouldn't be confident unless, of course, they have the looks to go with it. Otherwise, they gain their audacity because an attractive woman gave them the time of day. But yet women are encouraged to be confident all the time and refer to themselves as queens, no matter what they happen to look like. I wonder if we applied the same logic to those women, would it go over as well?
We are living in such an odd timeline because men no longer want to be with beautiful women, they want to be beautiful women themselves.
Oh? And how exactly are we going to try to shame men today?
I went on a date recently, and this guy was talking about this members only club, and I was like, oh, I'm actually familiar with it, like I've been. And he was like, how have you been? And I was like, oh, I went as a guest on a date. And to be honest, I thought the club was stupid. And I can more than financially afford to be part of this club myself. I just don't want to be. I don't think it's worth it.
If we could be getting to the actual point at some time, that would be lovely.
And he was like, that's so unfair. I wish I could have gone and had someone pay for it as a date. And I was like,
I don't understand why they're so shocked. I mean, equality after all. Shouldn't guys be treated just as well in dating as women are?
men like hate that beautiful women are rewarded.
No, they don't. Because if they did, then women would never get taken anywhere nice on a date. And by the way, it's not just beautiful women that get treated well.
But they set up this system where women are rewarded for being beautiful. Like, if you are losing at a game that you invented, I cannot fix that for you.
Right, so the entire point of that video was to try to shame men for wanting to be treated as special in regards to the dating game as well. Yeah, we are living in odd times.
I think it's so funny that men are offended by misandry.
Excuse me, why is it funny to be upset that someone hates you for a characteristic that you have absolutely no control over? I think I'm going to need a bit of more of an explanation.
Because men have literally never liked women.
Uh-huh, sure they haven't.
I don't know, women wanted to get jobs, all the men were like, no! Women wanted to go to school, and men were like, no! And then we wanted to vote, and they were like, no!
Wait. Didn't men have a say in the vote on that? Because I'm fairly certain that quite a lot of men actually did vote so that women could have the rights that they have today. But a lot of individuals like this like to leave that out of the conversation.
You can't be offended by us not liking you. You hate us.
The fact that some individuals genuinely have to convince themselves of that is really sad. Because if they actually had to admit the truth to themselves, they would realize that it's only a small portion of men that dislike women. But for some, it has to be all. Otherwise, their own bigotry would just be too much for them to handle.
The male loneliness epidemic is all your fault.
Okay, then.
It is nothing to do with the women.
Well, no. Why would it?
We try our best to talk to you guys and be in crowds where you guys are at, and you don't try. There's zero effort given from the male side. And it's disgusting.
Sure about that? Because, wait, there's this.
I really am so confused on why these guys think like they have chances when we're literally just being nice.
Ooh, that's just awkward.
Like there isn't any difference between being nice and flirting.
Well, that's true. There is a big difference between being nice to someone and flirting with them. However, some women out there should bear in mind that a lot of men out there have never experienced a woman genuinely being nice to them, unless, of course, they want something.
Being nice to you does not mean that I like you.
Indeed.
We're at the bar talking to these guys. There was no flirting, but at the end of the night, they asked for our numbers.
I mean, yes, we're gonna give you our numbers so we can hang out again and be friends.
Yeah, let's be friends.
Wait, I thought they didn't like them, but they're still giving them their number so they can be friends? Can anyone understand how a lot of guys out there would be very confused?
Like, it definitely felt more than that, and that's where I'm confused because we were just being nice because they tried having a conversation with us.
Yeah, I can see why a lot of guys out there are choosing to remain single if this is what they have to deal with. Yeah, ladies, they're not lonely. They're choosing peace. Just imagine the look on someone's face when they finally discover that men have actually never stopped doing all those things that they say men don't do anymore. But here's a thought. If your femininity requires ignition, you never had very much of it to begin with. I can see why that would upset someone. After all, those who are not used to thinking rationally are often upset by others that do.
You know what's funny? Modern women can sit up here and talk about what men do and what they don't do. It's funny that, and I'm not sure where they're getting it, because a lot of times they be dead wrong. Like Lady J, she just pointed out, a man doesn't pour concrete with his bare hands. When are you seeing that? You're in the house all day watching soap operas. When are you seeing a man do that? Did you walk by a site on a construction site on your way to get coffee or something like that, and you saw that? It's like, wow, that's hardcore. Sipping a mocha latte. Ooh, I would never want to do that. Take a bite of your bacon croissant. Is that when you saw that? Going back to your girl boss job, or you're not really doing anything? Is that when you saw that? Men used to go to war. Last I checked, we still have an army. People are still getting deployed into very dangerous zones. What are we talking about right now? Anything and everything. And that's what men going to war has provided you. The ability to get up on here and talk stupid. And you're doing a mighty fine job.
I'm actually gonna crash out because why the fuck did I just see a man post an Instagram 33 minutes ago and he has 100 fucking likes?
Okay, and that is a problem somehow, because why?
And he's not famous.
Sounds like jealousy. This might come as a complete shock, but a person doesn't have to be famous in order to post content that people actually like. That's the key part.
I swear to fucking God, if men don't get off social media, I'm gonna make the cartel putting hits on ice look like fucking beginner bullshit.
Ew. That just really goes to show that jealousy really is not a good look. And it can absolutely bring out the worst traits in some individuals, as we have just seen. Because not only was that an attempt at, I hope, a joke, not only in very poor taste, but that wasn't even remotely funny.
Okay, so women are emotional ones.
Oh, goody. Where is this going?
Help me out. How come 90% of violent crimes are committed by men and 90% of all homicide offenders are men?
Oh, I think I see the problem here. It's an inability to understand two subjects, math and statistics. But to be fair, those two things do stump a lot of individuals. Because while 90% of those crimes are in fact committed by men, it is not 90% of the men that are committing those crimes. They're also not taking into consideration the fact that a lot of those crimes are committed by repeat offenders.
Do you have periods every month where you are overcome by this sudden rush of hormones? No?
Oh dear, they're really trying to compare a rush of hormones to someone having some very serious behavioral, not to mention probably some serious mental health problems as well. Oh dear, I think we just stepped back in time.
Math ain't mathing. Why so emotional, bro? How come you're losing at your own game?
Yeah, as I said earlier, the math isn't mathing, most likely because there's a lot of individuals out there that simply don't know how to do math. But I find it interesting that that entire video was nothing but an emotional Well, the shortest and most correct answer to the question, when did men stop coming up to women? Well, it was about the same time that women started asking them to stop.
I don't care how good the information is, I will scroll every time I see a cis white man trying to give me information. And I love that for me.
Now, this might be my age talking a little bit, but I can very distinctly remember a time when it was considered a bad thing to be prejudiced against a group of people, especially for characteristics that they have no control over. But social media and the internet have really changed a lot of things, haven't they? I mean, think about it. As long as that demographic of people fits into certain categories, checks all the right boxes, as it were, then it's perfectly acceptable to put your bigotry on full display. And people will not only praise you for it, they will actually applaud you for your forward thinking, because in their minds you can't discriminate against a certain group of people, so it's perfectly acceptable to be as prejudiced as a person wants to be. Not only that, but actually be proud of the fact that they're ignoring any information that comes from someone purely based on their skin color and the gender in which they happen to have. What a time to be alive.
The men that think it's the biggest flex to be like, I don't chase a woman.
Take a wild guess on what they're about to say next.
Ew, are you gay? Did you just find out that you're newly gay?
It's really quite amazing, actually, how many women are just straight up coming out there and saying that they're homophobic. Not only that, but they're rather implying that there's something inherently wrong with a person who does happen to be gay. Yeah, that's really not a good look. But you know what else also isn't a very good look? Desperation. Because that's certainly the impression that takes like these are giving, that someone, or anyone, would have to be so desperate to actually get someone to pursue them that they're going to resort to shaming tactics in order to get them to do so. If they're not interested, they're not interested. And trying to tell them that they're gay in order to try to get them to change their behavior is not going to make them interested. If anything, it's certainly going to put them off even more. So, who caught that? Did anyone? Because it's rather apparent that there are some women out there that don't even seem to realize what actually constitutes chivalrous or even gentlemanly behavior, for that matter. Because if they did, they would have probably realized that those gentlemen are actually sitting with their backs to the wall and their fronts are facing the door. What's the relevance of that, some of you are asking? Well, that means that those gentlemen would be able to see any possible danger that would be approaching from behind the woman, and they would be able to act upon it should the case arise. So, those gentlemen are doing exactly what they should be doing if we're talking about acting in a gentlemanly manner towards a lady. They're not sitting there for their comfort. They're sitting there because that is the actual gentlemanly thing that they should be doing.
I'm sorry, when has dating ever been free?
Well, if a person wants to get technical about it, since the beginning of time, because a person can go out on a date with another person and no money has to actually be spent. I know that's a hard concept for some to grasp.
Are they acting like we're trying to gold dig for a piece of chicken?
Well, because some women won't even go out on a date with a guy unless they're going to a 5-star restaurant.
Women have had bank accounts for like 5 minutes.
Oh, we're going to use that as an excuse to try to get more stuff out of guys on a date? Okay.
The guys actually have it easy.
Believe it or not, there are quite a lot of women out there that genuinely believe that men, simply by virtue of the fact that they are men, have it so much easier in this world than women do. However, I would be willing to bet that there's not a lot of women that would actually say so if they were even willing to, as they say, walk a mile in a man's shoes.
Women do not leave good men.
Well, yeah, that's not true.
So if you start seeing someone and their story to you is that their last partner left them, please know the reason is they are not a good man.
Right, because no woman in history has ever left a good man for some petty little reason, like he doesn't make enough money, or that he did something to give her the ick. Of course, no woman could ever be that selfish or immature.
Because let's be honest, as women, we're always willing to try to work on the relationship.
Quite obviously, they haven't met all women now, have they?
While men, on the other hand, are by nature selfish as shit.
Oh, all men are selfish, are they? Oh dear.
Will always do what is best for them, regardless, point blank.
Yeah, because women never do that.
Most women will lose themselves in the relationship and therefore try to work on it because it's more of like an investment to us. But men don't give a shit. They are more likely to stay if they spend a lot of money on you because that kind of hurts their wallet.
I really enjoy watching someone demonstrate that they really don't know what they're talking about.
But if they're not being fulfilled in any type of way, whether it's emotional or physical, they will go elsewhere.
I wonder how they'll take the news that some women do the very same things for the very same reasons and actually use that as a justification for cheating.
This is just how men operate.
Well, at least they said that with confidence, if not accuracy.
Men are all the fucking same. There are a few good ones, but in 2025, good luck finding one.
Can we say that about women too, or would that be called sexist?
If all men go to therapy, every single one of them, then and only then will I stop asking for a ban on guns.
All men are in need of therapy? Okay, well, that's interesting. But what I did find really spectacular is that they basically just admitted that it is not a weapon problem. It's a mental health problem. So thanks for that. And I'm sure all of you are wondering, what are some concerning themselves with today that is quite frankly none of their business, and then deciding to post it on social media?
Do you think that people who only have white friends ever look at their friend group photos and see that every single person included is white and think like, huh, that's kind of strange? Or do you think the thought like never crosses their mind?
I think that anyone that is focused on the skin tone of a particular person, in addition to being focused on the skin tone of that person's friends, really has nothing better to do and could actually find something useful to do with their time.
You know, just watching all of these clips, man, we really do have to figure out a way to get these modern women to stop talking like this. It's pure ignorance. It's pure ignorance. They don't be talking about anything. They don't have anything deep to say. They say it slowly. They say it intentionally. They saw it. It's long and it's drawn out, but they're not really talking about anything. You talk about a pack of gum. The gum is so sensual that it just leaves a feeling, an orgasmic and overwhelming, a climactic feeling in my mouth to where everything, the flavors just bursts at the same time and explodes and creates an out-of-body experience for me. It was like, what are we talking about here? Oh, we're just talking about the gum. What? No, yeah, the gum is good. They were just describing the gum in extreme terms is what they were talking about. And you chew a piece of the gum. Oh, it's regular gum. It's spearmint. No. This gum is life-changing. No. You're not really experiencing. I am experiencing it. It's a regular piece of gum. You really don't get it. That's because you're not in tune. That's because you're not connected to the universe. It's a regular piece of gum. They talk about a lot of nonsense. And this is why men walk away from dating. Because men are looking down the road, decades upon decades down the road, and seeing, I'm going to have to deal with this foolishness. And it's not just going to be every so often that she does this. It's going to be pretty much all the time that she acts like this. All the time that she thinks like this. All the time that she expects me to think like this. To behave in a way that's weird. My friend's going to look at me sideways like, bro, what are you talking about? What are you doing out here? Why are you even thinking that way? Where's my friend at? Like, why you start acting weird? Ever since you got around her, you start acting crazy, man. What is this stuff? And we're not talking about trying to change maybe your diet and the way that you eat. And, ever since you got around her, you've been going to the gym a little bit more. Man, you've been thinking about how to do better in life. We're not talking about that. That's fantastic. You're bettering yourself. Somebody is helping you to grow. And if somebody can't understand that, maybe you don't need them, right? But if she's leading you down a path of foolishness, just talking crazy, and expects you to adopt that same crazy mindset, that a lot of these modern women display? Why? Don't let modern women shame you into thinking stupid. Just a stupid way of thinking. Just a dumb way of thinking. If a man doesn't open the car door, okay, I'm going to open the car door. Doesn't open the car door and pick my feet up one after the other and put him out and then grab me by my shoulders and lift me gently, then is he really a man? What are you talking about? A man should never approach me anywhere. But if he were to approach me, he better approach me with $100 so we can get the conversation going. Women have said that. Women have said that. If a man's going to approach me in the grocery store, then he better be paying me something. I remember when a man paid for my mother's groceries and he didn't even want anything. That's the type of time I'm on. Stupid. Trying to make men think that they should be doing the same thing just to talk to you. Listen, there's not a lot of men that really care too much about what you wear into the store. If you relatively put up. I know a lot of women are like, well, I was wearing sweats and I didn't have any makeup on and I just had my hair in a bun. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you coming there looking busted. Busted like your hair is all over your head. You got spit all over your saliva, all over your lips. You got stuff crushed all on the outside of on your eyes and stuff like that. That's what we're talking about. Looking busted. And you talking about in the same breath, stinky breath. I mean, he needs to pay me $100 to even talk to me, or he needs to pay for my groceries, or he needs to pay for the babysitter. No. Why would I be paying for something like that? No.